Okay, I'm getting ready to load the kiln. I've had somebody ask that I show my process from beginning to end, and so I'm going to share this with you. The bowls that I did in the previous video, which I called mint chocolate chip, they're soup bowls. They're getting ready to go in here. And what I have is a couple of smaller kilns. They're 8-sided kilns, and they're old manual kilns. And I picked them up. I'll tell you the story here. This one, as you can see, doesn't look too great. And I was volunteering this past summer at a nonprofit, and they had this in the back, and they asked me if I wanted it, and I said sure, I'll take it. And it looked pretty rough, and I took it home. And this is a bowl. I'm going to talk to you while I'm loading this, but this is a big bowl. And I'm doing the mint chocolate chip on it, as well as some other things. I'm going to try to do a whole kiln pretty much of that. But anyway, I took this kiln home, and the top was busted, and I really didn't think it would work, but I thought maybe I could do something with it. And I actually took it down to my local shop that works with kilns, sells kilns and all that, and I talked to the guy there, and we got to looking at it, and he said, I think I'd plug it in. And I tried to get him to plug it in there at his shop, and I think maybe he was afraid to plug it in. That's why I wanted him to plug it in. But he said, no, go get you an end for it. And I went and got an end for it, a plug in, and I wired it myself, and I brought it home, plugged it in, and it worked. It actually lit up. It wasn't perfect, but it lit up. It worked pretty good. And I wanted to replace this lid because it was just so messed up. And so I started looking around for another kiln, which I could use to replace that with, that lid with. I just a salvage kiln. And I found this little jewel on Facebook for 50 bucks, and the lid was good. And I brought it home. I had to drive 100 miles to pick it up, but for 50 bucks, you go get a kiln. And the guy told me, he said, he had 100 people, about 100 people on Facebook that, responded to his ad for the kiln. And I asked him, I said, why did I get the kiln? How in the world did you decide that it's me out of 100 people? And he said, well, he asked his buddy, because he wasn't used to doing this kind of stuff. And he's like, holy cow, I have 100 people. How do I decide who to talk to about it? And his friend went through saying, well, these people aren't going to buy it. They just said, is it available? Other people wanted me to plug it in. And he said, this guy made an offer, which I did. I just made an offer, 50 bucks. A lid is $350, so a $50 kiln, I can rob a lid off of for 50 bucks. I'm happy. So I offered to buy it, and he sold it to me. So I went home, brought it home, hauled it back home, and I just couldn't pull it apart. I just felt like it's a nice big piece I'm putting in here. It's a big vase my sister's wanting. She doesn't know I'm making it, but this is another one of these that's layered. I've got stripes. Yes, I'm changing directions, but I have stripes of downpour and wasabi on top of it because my thinking says blue and green make turquoise, and she wants turquoise. And I did multiple stripes of that on top of honey flux. Whole thing's honey flux, stripes of wasabi and downpour, and then it's coated with textured turquoise. And I'm just hoping it doesn't run off of the vase. We'll see what happens, but you're gonna get to watch me open this thing. So anyway, I brought the kiln home, and I got to messing with it. I just didn't want to tear it apart. And after about 3 days, seriously, of taking it apart, messing with the relays, the switches, banging it around, I finally could never get it to come on. And I got mad at it, and I came over, and I just went boom, 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 a couple of times on the front of it. And then I punched the start button, which is a spring-loaded contact there, probably 10 times, just bang, 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 bang. Plugged it in, and it came to life. And it works great. And I still use this. I have a ceramic mat that goes on top of this kiln here. But the other one's sitting there. I do all my bisque in it. It works fine. I haven't replaced any elements. like I say, I got 50 bucks in it. I spent 50 bucks on a stand. This one I've put one element in it. I bought a set of 6, but I only had to replace one because it just burned out at the contact. It gets hot. I'll fire my glaze fire in about 5.5 hours, which we're getting ready to start. But here are the soup bowls that you saw me glaze. And I'm putting them in here. And then you're going to get to see them come right out of the kiln when they're done. And I've got a few other things here that I'm going to put in. I'll do a couple of shelves and then a little half shelf. But my whole plan, I had actually budgeted to buy a new digital kiln, which would be a real luxury. But I'm kind of old school. That's just who I am. I like some of the older stuff a little bit better. And if it works and it's cheap, I've got 2 kilns sitting here running, which all total, if I don't count the cost of all of the elements, but I mean, I really have a couple $100 in these things. And they both work and they run, and I'm happy with them. So they use a kiln setter. You put a little cone in there, and when it gets up to temperature, that cone melts, and it kicks it off, and then you let it cool for 18 hours. Be curious if any of you guys are using kilns at home, or if you're going to studios. I know it's a little more difficult with a studio because you don't have any control over it. I did that for quite a while, and now I'm really happy with these old manual kilns. They get the job done, and I get to walk out my back door and come empty my kiln or fill my kiln, and I don't have to drive to town or wait on somebody else to do it. So I am very grateful. I have been blessed. There are many things in my life that I feel like was just a gift from God, and these kilns are one of them. So I am grateful to Him for all of it. So anyway, here's a little egg bowl. Scramble your eggs. Again, I'm doing the same mint chocolate chip here. The 4 soup bowls are mint chocolate chip, and then we have that great big bowl in the bottom. And I might try to put a couple more pieces in here before I hit the button to start this. I've got some little vases I was going to use as test tiles that I made, and I think they might fit in here. And if they do, then you'll see them come out when I open this lid. Thanks for watching. Whoop, whoop. All right, we're ready to open the kiln. Here it goes. She's been cooling now since, let's see, I guess it's been about 14 hours. I came out this morning and pulled the plugs out of it, and it was pretty warm. I checked it before I left for a couple hours, and she was 200-300 degrees. Now, the kiln is cool. The pottery's still pretty warm, but here it is. Oh yeah. Here are the little vases that I talked about. This is on a dark clay. We said dark, I had some black in there, which kind of darkened it up, that I threw in there. Oh, those are pretty. Those are really pretty. A little light on the subject. I have so many windows in the studio that a lot of times I forget to turn the light on. Well, that's interesting. Makes me think of a Appaloosa horse or something. So many this was the very bottom of my river birch, and you can see how many chunks that melt were in this thing, all the way down to the bottom, but it didn't run off. And we get those blues. You can see those colors. That's a really interesting little bowl. And then that big vase that I was doing. Oh, that just, look at the colors on that. And I got that stripe. That's pretty. That ended up being honey flux. And you can tell there's some speckled clay in here. This was a mix of clays that I did, and all that speckling in there. But that was honey flux with stripes of wasabi and downpour, and then covered in textured turquoise. I hope I'm holding that where you can see it instead of up too high. I'll have to try to watch that, but there it is. That's a nice one. And here are the soup bowls that you saw me do. You see how those came out? And you can go a little bit shorter on the rim if you don't want this to go down as far. But I think those turned out pretty nice. A little bit of kiln wash stuck on there, but that's pretty. That's real pretty. There's one. There's two. And you see how we get that? We get the turquoise in the green when we mix the wasabi and the textured turquoise. Insides look really nice. Neat little handles on these. A couple more of them down here. See how these came out. Oh yeah, real pretty. Real pretty. I like this combination. I hope you give it a shot. It's a really pretty mix. I saw somebody had done something similar to this on social media, and I just tried to guess how I could recreate it with the glazes that I have on hand. And that's what I did. Whew, well, we got really close to losing that one. It's just right there on the edge. Those are pretty. Then we have this one big bowl in the bottom. That I hope turned out nicely. Whew. Oh my goodness. Makes me happy. It really makes me happy when something looks like that. Look at that. Would you look at that? Good golly, Miss Molly. I am not going to complain about that. That's a big 12, 13 inch bowl. So much color in that. And you can tell with this swirl where I wedged it, this is all my recycled clay. So I have a lot of different mixes in here. But there it is. Give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Y'all have a great day.